Hello everybody. So through this session we will continue with the scene passages and deal with the second chapter, that is Nelson Mandela Long Walk to Freedom. So there used to be a question: read the following passage and answer the given questions. This used to be for 5 marks. So we will discuss that only, important passages. So the very first paragraph is given here. 10th May dawned bright and clear. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respects before the inauguration. The inauguration would be the largest gathering over the international leaders on South African soil. The ceremonies took place in the lovely Sanson amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. For decades this had been the seat of white supremacy, and now it was the site of a rainbow gathering of different colors and nations for the installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government, followed by these questions only. So the very first question is, why had the author been surrounded by the world leaders? So we all know that author here is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela is only the author of this book, and he is clearly mentioning here that he had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries and world leaders who were coming to pay their respect before the inauguration. So the ceremony was inauguration only, and he had been surrounded by the world leaders because they had come to pay their respects to him, as he was sworn in as the first prime minister there, or president there, sorry. So the answer to the first question is, the author had been surrounded by them as they were gathering to pay their respects as he was being shown as the president. So this is the answer of first question. So second question is, on what day was the inauguration taking place? So from here we can clearly see that from the very first line it is written 10th May. Inauguration was taking place on 10th May only. So the answer is, it was taking place on 10th May. Likewise, we'll see the third question. Third question is, where was the inauguration taking place? So it is also clearly written here, second paragraph, first line only. Ceremonies were taking place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by the Union buildings in Pretoria. So we'll write down the answer. It was taking place in a lovely sandstone amphitheatre in Pretoria. Likewise, the fourth question is, what was new about the government going to be installed? So new about it is that there will be installation of South Africa's first democratic non-racial government. So we'll write down, it was South Africa first democratic and non-racial government. Likewise, the last question here. The fifth question is, find a word from the passage which means dominance. So from the paragraph you will find that there is a word white supremacy. So supremacy is the word meaning dominance. So you will directly write down the word only, supremacy. So this is the end of our first paragraph. Now we will see the second passage only. So this is also from the same chapter only. And the very first question is, what was the author overwhelmed with? So from where the very first line it will, he was overwhelmed with the sense of history. That only we will write down in answer. So we will write down, the author was overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means overjoyed. Overwhelmed with a sense of history. Likewise, the second question is, so the question is, what kind of system did the white skinned people of South Africa created? So here it is also clearly written that white skinned people of South Africa erected a system of racial domination against the dark skinned peoples of their own land. So we'll write down the answer. They created a system of racial domination against the dark skinned people of their own land. Next question is, third question is, what was the basis of this system formed? However, it was incorrectly printed, so I corrected this. So we will find out the answer. So the structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. So this is the answer of this. We'll write down that system formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies in the world. Moving toward the fourth question, it is, what did the new system recognize? So now in the last decade of 20th century, my own 8th decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one of that recognize the rights and freedoms of all people regardless of the color of their skin. So this is the new system recognizing. We'll write down the new system recognized the rights and freedom of all people regardless of the color of their skin. Last question. So last question is find words from the passage which means submerged and a period of 10 years. So for submerged, the word is here overwhelmed. I'm answering it here only. I'm not just overwhelmed is the answer for submerged, the meaning of this, and for a period of 10 years there is a decade. So like that only. Now we are moving towards the last paragraph. So this is the third paragraph and this is from the same chapter only. First question is what day does the author refer to? Here the word is that day. So we are talking about the day the installation of new government in South Africa. So this is the day only referred by author here. So the answer of this is, so the day author refers to is the installation of new government in South Africa. Second question is how had that day come about? So it had come about by after the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of people. So the answer is the day had come through the sacrifices of thousands of people. Third question, what did author feel on that day? So he felt that day that he was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before him. So he felt that he was the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before him. So now I'll see the fourth question. Next question is why was the author pained? So he was pained that he was not able to thank them all who were not able to see what their sacrifices had achieved. He was pained that he was not able to thank those who had sacrificed their lives. Likewise, we see the last question. So the last question is find a word from the passage which means created. So created is here wrought only. So answer of E I am writing here only, that is wrought.